Does anyone else wish they had like unlimited money? Like, let me be so for real. I do a lot of things in this world creatively, as work, etc. Am a parent, yada yada. The ultimate goal of all of this is to have, and I think about this a lot, is to have enough money that I could basically put together a music festival. That's all my favorite bands, but they have to play the album I asked them to. Does that make sense? It is a purely, and it's not like, hey, every band come play your most popular album. No, it's, I want Fall Out Boy, they're going to be there headlining all 4 nights, playing all 4 of their albums. But for example, what's an artist where I only like one of their albums? For right now, let's just say, and no disrespect to Charlie XCX, the rest of her catalog. Music, Fashion, Film, cool album. It's not Brat. Doesn't need to be. Did I already talk about a light? When we get into this, should have been what am I talking about? Okay, so, but for example, I would be like, Charlie, you're just headlining, you're playing Brat. That's it. Frank playing Blonde. You get the idea. That's all I really want to do in life. No Name's doing the 10th anniversary tour of Telephone right now. She's playing Bumbershoot in Seattle. I might play Bumbershoot in Seattle. Huge if true. What was I starting like that? I was singing that Outfield song. But then there's bands like that where like I can't really reasonably ask them to fly out just to play the one song, but I kind of want to. Maybe one of the I don't know, Bonnaroo, I don't know if they still do, but they did this thing called the Super Jam where basically they'd pick some artists and then be like, we're going to give you a jam band and you're just going to, play a bunch of popular songs and bring out other people who are playing the festival to play other classic songs. And it's always a huge deal and it's cool. I mean, it's a huge deal there and it's very cool. It's like karaoke with a bunch of people from the festival. Maybe that would be one of the nights. 20, let's say 20, what's reasonable? 2030, it's not reasonable. Let's say 2035, Creme World Fest, all of my favorite artists playing my favorite albums. People forget a lot of the things that have happened to Drake. So many things have happened to Drake. Like, obviously, headline that's happened to Drake is the Kendrick beef. But people forget this man had like piss thrown on him one time. Other beefs, you're hiding a child of it all. But also, and what was I even thinking of? What happened to Drake? Also, he got booed off the stage at Camp Flogna, the Tyler the Creator Festival. That's crazy. So, again, when I bring out Drake to play a medley, Drake will probably play a medley. I like Take Care of the Best, but I don't think it's the one. Maybe if you're reading this. Anyway, when Drake comes out for the medley, you better not boo me. That's also why I kind of sympathize with Drake for like the feeling slighted and the beef thing by a lot of people, because like Tyler the Creator was one of the people that was on stage or like dancing with Kendrick at the pop out, like haha, Drake sucks. But like I said, Tyler asked Drake to headline his festival or to pop out at his festival because he loved Drake, and then his fans booed him, and then he's like, yeah, fuck this guy. And if I'm Drake, I'm like, hey man, what the Why do we start like that? I don't know. Welcome to Creme World, episode 40-something. I'm your host, Creme Brulee. Please like the podcast wherever you're listening to it. Subscribe on all the platforms. Leave us a review if you can. Share the podcast with somebody. I don't do that within the Zai episodes. I always forget, so I feel like I got to do it doubly as hard. Don't want the nips out. Sorry, you're not watching the video. Sorry, you almost saw something. So yeah, please double subscribe this week, and all that. My brain I'm in a bit of a fog. I took, like I've talked about, we'll do Mustache Watch next. That's what I forgot. Stick a pin in Mustache Watch. I'm in a bit of a haze. I took an hour and a half nap before this. I'm solo parenting, as I've said. I have a cousin staying with me actually, but they're just doing the drop off and pick up from school right now. So I'm still doing the bedtime stuff, which I normally do sometimes. Anyway, it took like 2 hours. I've maybe discussed on here bedtime before, but if you don't know, having a kid 4 years old roughly, bedtime can be a situation that takes 10 minutes or 2 hours, and every night is just a roll of the dice. Tonight it was like 90 minutes. I was in and out of sleep. Every time I woke up, he's still wide awake. I was like, fuck, man. I'm listening to a book, which we'll get into. And I probably, don't try and listen to an audiobook while you're falling in and out of sleep. It'll just make the next chapter or so very confusing, and you'll have to re-listen to it, and you'll be like, did I hear that? The whole time you're like, did I already listen to this? So I'm a little discombobulated. What I also want to know is like, okay, so I would have liked to have been recording earlier, primarily because I like to get to bed earlier. It's a Sunday. I work on Monday morning. You know how that goes. I want to get as much sleep as possible. But I need a sleep scientist to tell me if that hour of sleep I got from like 8 to 9 with my kid, does that count for this next night of sleep? Like if I get 6 hours, did I get 7 hours? Does that make sense? Where I'm at with sleep is like, I would do anything to just sleep for like a week. Just nothing else to do. I mean, it wouldn't happen because even in whatever scenario we're imagining, after day one, I'm like, I gotta write or make content or whatever it is I do with my free time. But the idea of sleep, as someone who seldom a morning to sleep in, sounds beautiful. But where I operate from actually is because I am on this not grind set mentality, but making the most of my days mentality, trying to do a lot of things. So I try and figure out the bare minimum amount of sleep I need and get that. I would love if there was some sort of genie or invention, or maybe one of those sleep measuring tools I've talked about a little bit before. I think the sleep measuring tools, and maybe I'm willing to change my mind on this. Aura Ring, those people, sponsor me. I dare you. Maybe I'll try it out. But I'm just so dubious of the like being told whether or not I slept well, despite like, I think I would know. I don't know how you're going to tell me I slept weller than I could tell me I slept well. But if they figured out a way to be like, hey, bro, we've done all your vitals and your diet and your blood and whatever, and we've calculated per day the exact amount of sleep you need to feel the bare minimum good you need to feel the next day to feel like you could do whatever you need to do, I would get that. If it was like 5 hours, 36 minutes, I wouldn't get a second more. I would definitely get less because I'm like, from a timing perspective, I am like, I've talked about this before. If I haven't talked about this before, I keep saying that too. If you've listened, the nip is out. If you've listened to the show and I repeat an opinion I've had, you should find that endearing. I'm not going to apologize for it anymore. Sleep. I lost my train of thought. What I was going to say, thinking of sleep, I only need the bare minimum amount. I'm like, there's no scenario, how my brain works, it is impossible for me to be on time to anything. What that means is if you told me, if my job, right, I had to be at work at 7, if my boss texts me, he's like, hey, and I get there at 7:05, let's say 7:05 every day. That's been me. Every job I've had, every commitment I've ever had, I'm getting there roughly 5 minutes late. Maybe it's a black thing. It's mostly I smoke a lot of weed thing. But the way my brain works, and this has been like proven to me in situations where it's like, even if when I got up tomorrow, my boss is like, you don't have to be here till 7:10, actually, I would be there at 7:15. Does that make sense? Like my brain knows, like, I'm a habitual line stepper with time. I'm going to take as much time as possible. More sleep thoughts. I've talked about I talked about the one time I had a dream where I predicted the future. That's actually kind of happened twice. To give you a quick summary, the one dream I had, I basically had lost my wallet, and in this dream I had, I found my wallet, and then I woke up and went to the place where I found my wallet in my dream. My wallet was there. Crazy. And then one time I had this dream where one of my good friends was like me. It was me and two of my friends, and we were in just like vague European city, just like street cafes, whatever. We're in vague European city, and all of a sudden, like alarms go off, and then like the nip is out again, and we're all suddenly aware that like a hurricane is coming, and me and one of my friends are like, oh shit, what do we do? And we turn to my other friend, and he's just having like an insane panic attack. And we're like, bro, like we gotta go, and it was just like a dream. My friend had a panic attack, right? And so I wasn't a friend I saw every day. So I was just like, oh, I'm going to text them and not say like, hey, you had a panic attack in my dream last night, but just like, hey, I'm thinking about you. Hope all is well. You've been in my thoughts. And then he's like, so good to hear from you, bro. I had like a panic attack yesterday. And I was like, bro, I know. And he's like, what do you mean? So I told him, so dreams are like, and basically from having those two experiences, I started to, and I think I still do, and I guess I'll get to my reoccurring dreams. But I'd started on this theory that I still have, that I think like is somewhat proven. I've heard other people with like research talk about a similar theory, which is that like, I think dreams are your brain like running every possible scenario that could conceivably happen, for like whatever's happening, not just in your life, but like with the characters involved in your life. So yeah, it's really hard to, we're getting into some vaguely esoteric territory, but what I'm saying is I just think your dreams, to me, is your brain just guessing what it thinks is going to happen. And sometimes if you're in more panic, a more stressful situation, it's going to tilt stressful and lead you in that direction. If you're like in a happy, more optimistic headspace, whatever, it'll lead you that way. I don't know if that's true or not, and I kind of hope it's not true, because like part B of my dreams experience is like the reoccurring dreams I've had, and there's like two main reoccurring dreams I can think about. The one reoccurring dream I used to have that I don't really have, and I can't remember the last time I had. At least maybe it stopped when the second reoccurring dream started to happen, because they're both stress dreams, I think. The first reoccurring dream is like, I remember the first time I had it, because the first time I had it was like super vivid and like very scary, and like I just remember getting onto this elevator with going into this building and like downtown metropolitan vague city. I gotta talk about, okay, another third dream thing I'll get to, but in this vague city, and like I get onto this elevator, and there's all these dudes with suits on this elevator. But I don't know if you've ever seen the show The Proud Family. What is that dude's name? I can't remember. It's like my brain's saying Mr. Worldwide. If you've ever seen the show The Proud Family, there's one character who's just like wearing a suit, and you can never see his head because his body is like, his body takes up the entire frame of all the shots. And so it was like that, but in real life, there were four dudes around me, but for some reason they were just like suit torso. Like I just couldn't see their heads. And so we get on this elevator, and it starts going up, and then all of a sudden it stops and starts falling. And as it's falling, like the building starts falling away around me. And all of a sudden, like these dudes are gone, and I'm just in this like box floating in the middle of this city and like falling. And then like right before I hit the ground, I wake up. And I had that dream reoccurring like every month or so. Who knows how many times? Because I forget most of my dreams because I smoke a lot of weed. But I had that dream, every month for years, and I stopped having that dream, and I guess that dream got replaced, like I said, because as I've as I'm not not apologizing for it, but as I've talked about on here proudly before, I was arrested or attempted to be the federal government, Homeland Security, DHS, the man tried to arrest me, with like 8 plainclothes, like undercover cops. And like I ran and like got away, but obviously it was a super traumatic experience. And ever since then, the reoccurring dream is I'm like somewhere with people I like. I don't know, thinking about it vividly, like I hate this dream, and now I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have this dream again. But I'm always with people like my family or friends, or always somewhere like public, and then like something happens, and then I don't even know it. Like if there's an inciting incident in my dream, I just always know. It's almost like kind of like this weird, dark, like culty sacrificial vibe. Where just like we'll be having a picnic. This is like I'm remembering like the last vivid one I remember. We're just like having a picnic, and then just like I stand up and I'm like, it's time, and like they all know and like watch me, and then just like happened in real life, a bunch of like secret agent police officers pop out from wherever and spend the rest of the dream chasing me. I'm so stressed. Chasing me. And what's crazy is like, a lot of people talk about being able to fly in their dreams. I can never fly, but what I can do is like, when I feel like really overwhelmed or scared, like do like this big ass, I don't know if I've talked about this out loud before, this big ass jump where I like jump like 100 feet in the air or whatever, and I just like glide slowly down to wherever else I like want to go. And the gliding, see, I wish I could fly, because the gliding down is stressful because I'm like not going that fast, but I am like high up. I don't know, man. And I'll just be getting chased through like all kinds of like shopping malls, public spaces, whatever. And I don't like it. I don't like it. So when that, the entire like reoccurring stress dream of it all really, dilutes what I feel is the salience of the idea that like your dreams are like predicting what could reasonably happen. I mean, I guess I never said reasonably. Sometimes it's reasonable. I guess I could tomorrow be out with my family enjoying a picnic lunch, and cops, appear from the bushes. Technically that could happen. I've been keeping my nose relatively clean. If my Homeland Security agents, if they're watching, see, that was the crazy part of getting arrested by my whole federal case and everything, because, before a case, they do discovery, and I guess they have to share the discovery they do. If you don't know, discoveries, like they just do all the background check research, whatever, on your name, and see anytime you've been arrested, running the law, really any information from the web, even they can pull about you in order to build your case, etc. So when we got my discovery file, there was just like so many pages that were just like screenshots of my Instagram and certain videos and like comment sections. So it's weird to operate in the content making space once after the government, Homeland Security, has tapped in. I don't think, again, they have any reason to remain tapped in. If they're adding to the listener base, if all the 1,000 downloads we have so far are all Homeland Security, I mean, if we could if we could eventually sell ads to y'all, and like if the Homeland Security people, NSA people, y'all subscribe to the inevitable Patreon, then we're cool. I'm not affected by it, but it is something that's always just on the back of my mind when I post. Like, I wonder Wonder if what's the dude? I wonder if Kash Patel's gonna see this. And the last thing on dreams is, I don't think this is, like I said, I smoke a lot, so I don't remember my dreams hardly ever. The best I do is like sometimes I'll wake up and like remember a person or like a feeling I got. But when the stress dream happens, I usually remember that I had the stress dream, though I don't always remember the details. But a thing that happened for a while, and I don't think it's still happening, but there was probably like a 4-year stretch there where all my dreams happened and like the same space, not space, but like I was very aware that they were all within the same hypothetical city my brain had created that was like an amalgamation of all the cities I'd lived before, but like scrunched together. But like I would go by the same street. You know what I mean? I don't know. It was like a video game. How in a video game, like the more you go over, the more of the map you discover, the more the map unveils itself. I kind of had that experience where I'd be like, oh, this is like connected to this. I don't like things our brains are capable of, man. We just, I don't know. We just be on our phones. Like your brain can make dreams. You know what I mean? Dreams. And we're all like, I'll watch a TikTok. Like, bro, go to sleep. Is that going to be the next wave? We haven't even began to introduce a topic. This is what's the word? Filibustering? I won't even say filibustering. I have multiple topics ready to go. We're not going to go all night, so maybe we don't get to all the topics, but I got multiple topics ready to go. And guess what? We still haven't even started with Mustache Watch. We haven't even gotten into Mustache Watch. Tap in to the YouTube video. The uploading podcasting platform I use now has the option to upload video to Spotify and Apple straight from whatever their app is, and I already do video, so those will be coming soon. It'll be the video. What I'm saying is on Spotify, maybe even as you're listening to this, you'll be able to tap into Mustache Watch for the first time. I'm kind of conflicted because I'm like, I do want to drive traffic to the YouTube, but you know what I mean? I don't understand the media landscape. Let's just get into Mustache Watch. I'm putting it closer to the camera. That's pretty good, y'all. As I've said before, we're still at the space where I'd say I have a mustache, but I think we're in this space where, and it hasn't happened, no one's complimented it, because it's not it's definitely not at the complimenting point either, because there's no bushy factor to it, but I would say it is a mustache. It's not a good... Sure how unconfident that was. It's not a good one. You know what I mean? It's not a good one, but it gives... Facial hair is so weird because, like, I can't, like I've talked about, I can't really grow facial hair, but I can grow enough facial hair that, like, I have to shave because, you know, it's just, like, patchy hairs around my chin and face, and I'm sure, you haven't seen the videos, but if you've seen the videos, you've seen sometimes it's like this, but then I shave off almost what it amounts to nothing facial hair wise, and my face just looks so much better. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not even recognizable as like 5 o'clock shadow or beard or anything like that. But if I clean it up, it looks better. I don't know. Welcome to Creme World. Let's just shoot straight with you. I was going to do, what I wanted to do was like, I listened to a different podcast, one of the Vox podcasts where they were like fantasy drafting the next couple political candidates, the next presidential candidates. And I found it to be interesting, and I was like, oh, you know what? I might want to do one where we just pull up the betting odds and rattle through the top 10 betting odds of like who could be the next president and see what's interesting there. But then I look it up, and it's just not that interesting. And just in terms of like me not being a political pundit, like, sure, I could be like, hey, number 4 is John Ossoff. That's pretty cool. Here's what he represents. But I don't want to just be like reading off stuff. I was hoping it was like number 4 was like, I don't know, fucking who's a fun celebrity? The Rock, right? I was hoping that I was gonna open it up. I was gonna be like, sure, JD Vance, Marco Rubio, Gavin Newsom, but number 4, it's Oprah. Number 6, because here's the thing. For a while, I thought, I'm gonna shoot straight with y'all. After Kamala lost, we're all on the left, like, we're all on the left, like, quietly, like, we're gonna need a white man next time. Like, I mean, what's crazy? Kamala Harris is like the 5th or 6th voting favorite, and I like Kamala. Nah, I'm not gonna say all that. I respected her campaign, and I was definitely mobilized to be excited for her. But what? I'm not, again, no disrespect, running again for her humiliation ritual. I'm sorry. I don't believe in the whole black people humiliation ritual, Illuminati, yada, yada. But why would you do that to yourself, sis? Who's I talking about? Presidential candidate? Who I thought, so when we were all doing the, like, I think I was going to be a white man next time. I thought, and just walk with me here, this isn't who I wanted it to be, but I thought the most logical next person for the Democrats to run was Mark Cuban. Not because I am the biggest Dallas Mavericks fan, not because I love Shark Tank, not because I even necessarily like Mark Cuban. Coming from the space of, like, the immediate aftermath of women of color losing what I feel like in a lot of ways was an election that was about this is not really debatable, but about the economy. I was like, okay, so clearly next one's gotta be a white guy. And if we're worried about economics, I know the brand for billionaires isn't as strong as it's ever been, although maybe it is, because I think California might be about to elect a billionaire governor. But from the standpoint of, like, billionaire business person, yada, yada, clearly has, like, maybe not an advanced understanding of economics, but to the average voter, seeing billionaire, you're going to be like, let's trust this guy with money. I think we see that with how our society, not us, but a lot of people in our society just kind of blindly worship Elon Musk. And, I live in Seattle and my mom's visiting. And one thing about Seattle, we'll get back to Mark Cuban. One thing about Seattle, there's no city with more Teslas. Like, the statistics might tell you that there's a city in the world with more Teslas. I'm telling you, it couldn't be possible that there was a city in the world with more Teslas than Seattle, Washington. It's disgusting. It's embarrassing. I used to do a bit about this, but I don't really want to do Elon Musk type material anymore. But a lot of them have because after Elon did after last year with what was that thing called? Doge. After the whole Doge thing where he was kind of gutting our federal aid network apparatus, whatever. And people were like, liberals were like, hey, we don't actually like this guy. But a lot of us have Teslas. So there's a lot, around that time, there was a lot of, like, and I still see them, especially in Seattle, like Tesla bumper stickers that are like anti-Elon Tesla Club, or I bought this before I knew Elon was crazy type shit, which is there is nothing more, that is the most shameful, embarrassing thing you could do, is be like, I bought this car, but I didn't, like, support the guy. I didn't buy it to support. It's like, no one was, I mean, I guess people were setting Teslas on fire at that point, but you, individual tech bro, whatever, no one was putting the gun to your head. We all know all the tech people, we all know y'all lean crypto fascist more than you lean left or right. You just want Peter Thiel to be in charge of everything, and Peter Thiel and Elon to be in charge of everything, so we can reach the singularity, and you can, I don't know, fucking AI woman in real life. Fine. But it's like, I don't know, Elon, and the joke I talked about how when those Thai kids were caught in that cave, Elon was like, this was like 2017, mind you. Elon was like, I'll save the Thai kids from the cave. And Thailand was like, nah, we're good. We actually got this other guy who's going to do it. And then Elon was like, fuck that guy. He's a pedophile. And people were like, yeah, I'm at that point, whatever, right? Because you know what, that's all I'm saying is there's no point where this guy has been in the public sphere where he's been normal, not kind of a huge asshole. I remember when he dropped, we're all like, whoop-de-doo, he's gonna, fix high-speed rail and move us into the future. And I mean, if the future is annihilation, then yeah, baby. The point I was getting to was my mom, not 1% politically tapped in, and I'm maybe 1% politically tapped in. I won't say not 1%. My mom, I talked about it a couple weeks ago. My mom, amazing person, does boots on the ground work in her community, helping her community, people in her community improve their lives. To me, is like she doesn't. Her not really caring about the nuances of, Gavin Newsom's upcoming platform versus John Ossoff, like she's good. I'm not. So this sanction not politically tapped in isn't any sort of judgment. But her being not politically tapped in at all, just like pulled me aside, but she just like looked at me one day. She goes, there's so many Teslas here. It's disgusting. And I was like, yeah. I don't even know if Elon's on her radar for real. We've never talked about him. So it's not even an Elon thing. She's just like, there's so many Teslas here. What was the point of that? Anyways, we're starting were we doing Mustache Watch? Did that Tesla spiel come out of Mustache Watch? I don't know. Again, we're a half hour in. I haven't gotten to any of the topics. So Mustache Watch, we're enjoying. It's looking good. First, this isn't a topic. I just wanted to stick a pin in this because this feels like a thing. We get so many in the media landscape, world, political landscape we live in. We get so many crazy pieces of information on a week-to-week basis, and I just want to make sure some things I want to stick a pin in because I feel like they deserve people to just keep their eye on them. Iran is trying to hack our water. I know that sounds like I'm trying to do like xenophobic fear mongering. There's been like multiple reports of like different municipalities within this country saying that basically their water bureau system, management, has been hacked by Iran, and they're trying to like fuck up the water. So I'm a tap water nigga. I'm real with y'all. I'm a tap water nigga. I will never get too bougie to have to buy a Brita filter or do whatever. If I die because RFK Jr. pissed in the water, whatever. But actually, I was a tap water nigga. Them hacking the water is the first time. I don't know if a Brita filter can help with hacked water is the thing. We can't go bottle. Maybe we go bottle until the war is over, y'all. Just the fact that sometimes you hear about a thing where you're like, I didn't know that was in play. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I had no idea hacking the water was in play. But they're hacking the water. So just keep an eye on that. Do your Googles. Maybe more will happen. They're hacking the water. The lettuce is bad. You know what? I realized all this Taylor Farms poop lettuce thing. I'm going to be real with y'all. I won't say boots to the ground and on like lettuce gate, but I am in the trenches every day. I've talked about it. I work in a kitchen. I'm cutting and washing a lot of lettuce, and I was before this thing happened. So you can imagine how on my ass my job is about me washing lettuce now. Now that everyone's afraid that the lettuce is gonna make them poop. I also didn't realize until like 2 or 3 days ago, Taylor Farms, the people that are fucking who fucked up the lettuce with the poop in it. I've been past year in my life, I've been going through like 3 of their bag salads a week, dog. And I'm not stopping. I bought 3 more today. That virus is gonna have to come get me. Come get me. I don't know what I said. I mean, it's just a scary time to be alive. There's poop in the lettuce. They're hacking the water. We're still haven't gotten to a topic. Maybe we'll do no topic. No, I have to do it. We have to. I mean, I did write top water. So that we did get to top water. That was the first thing I wrote down. It wasn't a segment as much as it was just meant to be like, hey y'all, keep your eyes open for the water. Okay. So, and we'll go, I got 2 doors for this next lap, which will probably be the last segment. Cause look at that, y'all. We're 35 minutes in. I did a great job of just yapping. I come in, I told y'all before this, I wasn't nervous. I was just in a weird headspace because I just woke up from a nap. You know how when you wake up from a nap, when you wake up at night, the night feels like a different kind of night. Like there is the place I'm at now feels like a realm that's only accessible if you take a nap into the night. So I've been fucking around with making content, right? Obviously, the nip's out and we're just letting it rock. Obviously, we're almost a year. Shout out to y'all. We're almost a year into this particular Creme World endeavor. If you know me, you followed along for a while, you know this is like podcast at least number 6 for me. The last one I did, what was it called? Front to back. Was just me talking about music and albums review podcast. That one, I missed that one. I stopped that one because of alcoholism. But I like the album art for that one. I like the concept of that one. I did a couple with my friends before that. I did like 4 different ones with like my friends, different friends. And I did one that was an interview podcast. I've been quote unquote content creating for since before the panini. So let's say since 2018. I was doing music for a while and putting out, again, if you were there since day one, you know, I was putting out music. That was like the primary thing I was doing. And then the fucking the 2020 happened, and I was political content creator. And then now I moved into just the stand-up clips era, and then I was like, okay, I gotta do more. Because let's be real, I like doing a podcast. Like I said, I've been doing podcasts for as long as I've had the equipment. So I like doing podcasts, but posting stuff on Instagram, I don't like. I don't like it at all. Even my stand-up, I don't like it one bit. And there's a myriad of reasons. I just read a negative comment like 10 minutes ago. And the thing about it is just like, my feelings. So basically I had a clip do relatively well recently. We'll talk about it a little bit later in a little bit. But someone just commented on it. It's got like a couple 100,000 views, hundreds of comments where people are like, this is funny, likes, people are laughing. You know, I have to stop telling my jokes so to allow for laughter within the context of the video, right? I'm not saying it's objectively funny, but it's doing well online. People are laughing at it. Cool. Someone just commented on it like, no jokes, comma, no laughs. Like, what? It's just like, it's not that I think I'm insecure, that I'm like, what do you mean? Like, it is funny. It's just like, how are you just, you just want to be mean. That's all you want to do. You just exist as an account to just be mean. And it doesn't get me off my square. I'm secure about who I am as a comedian and a person. And, posting online is actually like super doable as a stand-up comedian because we're very used to, like, part of my job is going out and telling jokes and having no one laugh to my face, which is a lot harder to deal with than people ignoring a video. People ignoring a video, I don't have to see that. I just see it statistically, but I don't have to look in their eyes as I'm like, huh? And they're like, no. And that other thing, that no thing, happens to me a lot. So all that to say, like, it's hard. It's weird, rather, being a stand-up comedian. That's me. Or any artist, any creative person in 2026. I'm not the first person to talk about this, but there is, like, I won't say an enormous pressure, but there's definitely a pressure to be posting some kind of content frequently in order to grow your platform so you can get access to better opportunities. It sounds vapid, but I've talked to club bookers, promoters, whatever, all the time. Like, there was a show I did a couple weeks ago where the booker was just like, point blank, like, how many followers do you have? This is a show because they're trying to promote some movie where, like, we just want the comedians with the most followers. It is what it, like, that's just the game. And it makes sense logically for a business who relies on ticket sales to be like, hey, we want this show to do well, so we want the show to sell well, so we're going to book the people we think will help it sell the best. There's a lot of other examples of this. Just within whatever local communities you have, there are people who have and this is a no negative at all, but there's a lot of comics, and again, all other artists in all their fields, I'm sure you recognize this if you're an artist, who have, orders of magnitude more of a following than you do and get booked on a lot of stuff. But again, not a negative thing necessarily. Their quote unquote art, stand-up, music, whatever, isn't as refined as people who have a lot less, but those people get more opportunities. It is what it is. I want also, like, whoever the people that enjoy my art is to see my art. And if I have to post what am I doing now? So where I'm at now, when I started the podcast, I was like, cool, I'll put out a lot of clips and that'll get motion for the podcast and be a way for me to have other content that is non-stand-up that I can post, because as a comedian, you can only post so much of your stand-up. If I posted 3 minutes of stand-up a week, by the end of this year, I would have posted not even this year, much quicker, I would have posted all my jokes. And I know there's different ways to chop it up, repost, yada, yada. The point is, you got to do more stuff. That's why most local comedians you see are doing skits or a podcast or, just front-facing influencer style videos. I started doing the podcast clips. It's just like, as one person, I'm honored, proud, whatever to say. I do everything in-house, and I think I do, like, I won't say an impressive amount, but for a single person who has a full-time job and a kid, I think, and also is trying to full-time do stand-up. And, as I've talked about, some weeks I have shows more days than I don't. So all that in mind, also being able to put up, an hour-long podcast and an hour-long video that I have to cut and edit myself along with the podcast, is like, I won't say it's like a Herculean effort, but I just remembered the YouTube videos again. Like the YouTube videos are like a week behind now, and I dropped the ball on that. So again, not perfect. But yeah, it takes a lot of effort to make all this happen, and despite that, I don't really know. Like, I don't think the way I do the podcast is not really. I don't know if it's really made for like editing into clips per se, like especially the solo one, like with me and Zai, there's more of a dynamic, frankly. And, a back and forth is easier to post and it's easier to cut into a digestible 30 to 60 second humorous clip. But what I do on here is just yap. What have I been doing for this 46 minutes? What would the clip be from this 46 minutes? There's stuff that's probably like to you been like worth a chuckle or entertaining, hopefully. But I don't know if there's anything that I've said that's like, man, that's the clip. So all that to say, my endeavor into this podcast did help me check off the box of like having a podcast. But like also I like, despite how loose and freeform, I mean, because of how loose and freeform this one episode is specifically today, what will the title of this one be, y'all? What will the title of this one? They're hacking the water. I talk about that for like 10 seconds, like 35 minutes in. It's probably still going to be the name of it because it's the most provocative. And I sold you a false bill of goods on that one. So I'm going to go ahead and apologize if you were like, this is going to be an hour about how the water is getting hacked. Sorry. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. So the podcast serves for me having a vehicle to express myself and also, to just peel behind the curtain of a more like Machiavellian approach to help me cultivate an audience of people who are interested in just me as like a person, whatever the fuck that means. And also to help me learn how to communicate better, to help me work through ideas better. I talked about it earlier, but the one comedy clip that I had recently didn't go like crazy viral. It's got like 170,000 views, but it was a story about kissing my college roommate that I did for the first time on I think Moving to Portland Made Me Gay. Yeah, I think that's an anecdote I shared for the first time on the podcast, and remembering the anecdote and explaining it, and then also seeing it performed relatively well as a clip, and it relatively well. So as these two things, pretty much the same content, but one as a clip of me here on the podcast, and one as me doing it on stand-up. The stand-up clip, the podcast clip, 3,000 views. The stand-up, like I said, 170,000. There's just something about the way I'm packaging, and I'm sorry if this is a little too minutia, but I was packaging the clips. It's just not as marketable or engaging. That's what I got into this for, baby, to figure out how to make the most engaging portrait mode videos. God, I love it. So the podcast has been successful in terms of like what I wanted out of a podcast, but not necessarily in terms of hitting my goal of having like constant clips. I mean, I could constantly do clips, and I still would like to do podcast clips. I'm just spinning a lot of plates right now. But I figured out, so the comedian Kev on Stage, I'm sure I've talked about him on here before. Just, I think maybe not the most influential, maybe the most influential Black comedian of the past 5 to 10 years. If you want to take comedy out of just purely the form of stand-up, he's certainly good and talented at that as well, but just comedy as like a 360 in all the spaces comedy can be, podcasting, stand-up, sketches, shows, like TV shows, movies, etc. He's kind of eating on all those spaces right now, and he does just like. And if you've been on my page recently, you've seen me experimenting with it. But like, I didn't have a name for it, but another comedian, I was shout out to Mossy. I was at a mic Wednesday, and he's like, I see you doing those tiny head videos. And I'm like, that is a fun name for him. So Kev on stage does these tiny head videos, and it's basically like taking whatever viral clip or tweet or news story and doing like the green screen TikTok style video where you superimpose your head on it and do commentary. He's been doing those for as long as I can remember. And I was like, you know what? I think that could be a format that is doable for me. Because I've tried doing, and I still experiment with it sometimes. I've tried just doing a talking to the camera TikTok, and that's where I'm millennial. I'm on the cusp, like kind of on the cusp of millennial or Gen Z, especially from like what I'm influenced by perspective. But boy, as soon as I hold the camera up in front of my face, I am 70. So none of those videos have had any motion. But these tiny head videos. Is this boring? I'm sorry. These tiny head videos, I started when that lady in Seattle drove her car onto the Max. That one did fine. But I've had 2 or 3 that have done pretty well. Nothing crazy. A couple tens of thousands of views. And so that's what I'm doing now. Why did I start talking about that? I guess because I'm just talking about MySpace, my journey as a content creator, if anyone cares. Because now I'm doing tiny head videos, and it's like, the depressing thing is like I talked about the like gap in views from doing the story on a podcast clip versus doing a story on stand up, and how like I talked about the gulf and views between those two videos based on the format essentially, and just like in a very harrowing but illustrative on like why I should keep making other types of short form content is like, so I put up what I call it, the cookout joke. It's called cookout in my notes, but it should really be called real nigga. The joke's real nigga / cookout, but I put up, it's kind of, I won't say it's like the best joke I've ever written, but it's an incredibly me joke, which means I'm not saying no one else could ever write it, but being like, I'm black my whole life. So the joke is I'm insecure about the way other black people see me because I've never been called a real nigga before. And then the joke goes on from there. But that premise alone, that's just like, only no one gets to do that joke, but you'd have to be very, very similar to me in order to do that joke. Because the joke me and Josh Johnson can do, you know what I mean? But I do that joke and it always crushes. It's like, I do it in tandem with another joke to where it's like the perfect opener closer for like a 10 to 15 minute set right now. And yeah, it's just like at this point 4 or 5 months of like me. I mean, I talked about it on the Behind the Jokes 1 week with a comedian episode. I talked about it. That joke's like, especially the cookout part of it, I've been turning it over and like rewriting it and like doing different versions of it for literally years, right? So this is a joke I've worked on at this point for like 5 years, and I put it up and it's like really good and successful, and it's got like 60,000 views, which is great. But I do like this little tiny head video where it's me making fun of a dog that got high on a mountain, right? It takes me literally like 20-30 minutes to make and post. And it's basically the same numbers as a video of like me crushing a performance also. Like It takes a lot. I'm not saying I'm the greatest performer of all time, but like having a good joke is good. But like getting it on a good tape is like, not only did I make and work on this joke for years, on this one night, I also hit it perfectly. And that doesn't always happen, as most comedians can tell you. All that work, all that combined effort, and it just like performs similarly to a video of me just in my bed being like, this dog got high, but it was a black dog, so it's going to jail. Same stats. So so that's just to illustrate, like I said, the idea that, what was I gonna say? That yeah. You just gotta put out other types of videos. That's why the pressure's there to do other non-types of stand-up content, because even stand-up content performed well written, yada yada, is not gonna go as, crazy online as you making fun of some ugly animal. And that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Why did I talk about this? Well, as you can probably see, we're like 50 minutes in. So am I really going? The next two topics were like supposed to be the episode. They're both to be each supposed to be like 30-minute chunks. So, you know what? I'll just end on this, because I didn't really want to lead with this, because we did an AI discussion last week, and my fear is that I don't think it's going to like ever become like purely a podcast about AI, but there's just so much, and especially with where Zai is right now, in his honeymoon phase with ChatGPT, it kind of comes up on a lot of our episodes. It's kind of replaced the Drake and Kendrick beef as the thing we can't do an episode without like taking a brief detour into. So, I want to be mindful about not just talking about that every week, though it's hard when it is like the most potentially prescient topic, and is like there's a million interesting tendrils that keep unfolding. Did you hear that? Tendrils? Yeah. This nigga been reading books. I don't know if I used it right. I probably didn't. Maybe I did. We'll find out together. That you can unwind. And one I wanted to talk about. So the next segment, I'm not going to do it now. Because again, I wanted it to take like an hour, and I don't want to try and cram it into 10, 15 minutes. Again, I would love to give you guys another 30 minutes right now, but I got to go to bed soon. So what I was going to talk about, what the segment I was going to do was like, I asked people on my Instagram, was like, hey, ask me a question about whatever for the podcast. And very little to no motion. I was like, cool. So I went into my chat GPT, and I was like, hey, based on the prompt, or based on everything I've talked to you about, give me 10 interesting interview questions. And it did. And again, like I said, that was going to be the next segment. But before I do it, and again, I'm not going to do it now, maybe next week. If y'all, I'll have it on the back burner. Okay, just know I'll have it on the back burner. What was I going to say? So Hank Green, do we know about Hank Green? Hank Green is like a science and tech, educational is the word, content creator. I remember him, I don't remember which teacher, but I definitely had a teacher in my middle high school process that played us Hank Green videos about something. And then as I've gotten, into, I haven't gotten into YouTube. He's just popped up on my YouTube algorithm within the past couple of years, and he's doing like a more current events style education. He does a lot of stuff. If you don't know Hank Green, I don't know. I really hope I'm using the right Green, because there's Hank Green and there's John Green. But there's also Tom Green, who I don't think is related. John Green wrote The Fault in Our Stars and some other sad kids book. Hank Green is content creator. And he basically there was like a I won't say a big controversy, but a relatively sized controversy this past couple of weeks, where basically in a video he appeared to it appeared in the script for one of his videos that there was a section of it that seemed like it was written by AI, because he said the phrase, "and thank you for the correction." Something, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but something roughly like, "and thank you for the correction," which if you've ever used ChatGPT or any LLM, I say LLM now because I'm in the know, or any LLM, and like given it any, sometimes you'll ask it a question and you'll be like, that's not as right as it could. If you ask it a question about something you already have a relative understanding about, it'll sometimes give you an answer where you're like, I don't know about that. And it'll be like, thanks for the feedback. Here's what you need to know. And so it appeared that he spoke in a way that hinted or suggested that he had been basically copy and pasted some portion of a script from an LLM. He put up a couple posts on Twitter basically saying that he did use ChatGPT for research and some other parts of his, he used it for parts of his research and like organizational process for creating video, whatever process. Yeah, I said it already. For his video creation process. But that he actually, in the video, he was saying, "and thanks for the feedback," to like someone in the audience who actually provided feedback, which it would be weird for him to take accountability, because he really seems to have taken accountability as much as anyone can, as the resident like internet good guy. If you don't know, he's just like, his internet ethos is like, nice science online guy, trust him. And so this whole situation is really damaging to that ethos. And he has a lot of videos where he talks about AI and the potential dangers, but he also has some videos where, like, a video people pointed to a lot, and now that it's basically been exposed that he uses ChatGPT a lot, where he's like, and I remember watching the video, but there's basically a video that's like, so these LLMs aren't actually using that much water. And I remember the conceit of the video is like, the amount of water LLMs use still like pales in comparison to the amount of water corn uses, which is an interesting observation, but it just looks more interesting now that any video where he's like, hey, AI might not be as bad as we think, looks a lot different with the context of knowing now that he uses AI, or at least used AI. But in his video, he's like, I got to rethink my content, whatever, my strategy, rethink who I am as a person, ultimately. And people were big mad. People were, really critical of just being someone in the education space and relying so heavily on it. I think it's like, I don't know if a lot of the fear or anger is at the anger at him, I feel, is just like a lot of people being like, realizing how, and I won't even say fucked we are, because I don't want to do AI fear mongering, but realize how, like, if trusted scientific educational professionals are, using like LLMs, I'm going to keep saying it, I like how it sounds, LLMs to do anything, then, like, we're all doing it. You know what I mean? Like, if both college freshmen and also, respected, degreed, tenured, smart people are all using ChatGPT, then congratulations, OpenAI, you've done it. Or all the companies combined, you've done it. And I think a lot of the anger is a lot of people being like, oh, we're all the lobster It's like you dip a lobster in the water and slowly turn the heat up. Or is it a frog? Either way, the heat's been slowly turned up to the point where it seems like we're all on it. And so that's why I felt like conflicted, right? Because obviously, I think it should be really, really clear, abundantly clear that no scripts are used in this or anything I do. That would be, I don't know where I would have time to write, an hour and 15-minute monologue. But I've used, in the Rachel Dolezal episode, for example, I used ChatGPT to say, hey, can you give me a timeline of all the events on the Rachel Dolezal thing? And then as it did, I was like, okay, now give me more details on the different police reports filed about the nooses at her house, et cetera, et cetera. So I used it there in order to have like more succinct information. I think I probably used it when the white tears, I did use it in white tears. White tears too, coming sooner than you think. Haven't recorded it or put any thought into it, but coming sooner than you think. But in that, just be like, hey, who are the 50 most famous white people? And if you'll recall, it gave me Jesus. So I've been twiddling with my hair a lot. Now it looks crazy. Anyway, so I think, one thing Hank Green says, he put out a video after that, the most recent video. He's only put out one since that whole incident kind of occurred and the news broke, essentially, where he's like, I think the best thing you can do as a creator is to create like an AI policy and make that clear. And I think that's a good idea because like I said, I was going to use it for a segment on this. I might use it for a segment in the future. As a creative person, I am like, the line in the sand I have for myself is I'm not using it to generate any, not generate any ideas, because that sounds, I think I've promised myself I will never use it to write comedy or in any part of the joke writing process, because more than anything, I think my ability to make things funny is the skill I'm trying to cultivate, and anything that gets in the way of that is ultimately making me a worse comedian and affecting my ability ultimately to like be who I want to be in the world and, hopefully not get a good job, but like be successful and make money and have a career out of this. I don't want to, what is the word? I don't want to sacrifice any of my creativity for quantity. However, I do, for research purposes, like I said, I am comfortable using it. This can be a dialogue too. I don't want to just tell you this is my policy, but this can be a dialogue as a listener. We're a community, okay? But like for research, being like, hey, I would like a timeline of this topic I want to talk about. And for, like I said, I was going to have it ask me some questions, and they asked me some pretty thought-provoking questions. And, I think that starts to approach the line of me being like, okay, I had the idea and then you helped me with the idea, but it still feels, I don't know. I think what I've decided though, ultimately is my policy is going to be just telling y'all whenever I use it at all, right? Because that, I feel like, making the sweeping declaration that I never will or just will, frankly, doesn't feel right or honest. And, I was watching one of the videos I watched about Hank earlier. This woman made the point that a lot of people have made, but is like, I think prescient, like so much of what we know as AI now is just tools we've all had for a while that we're used to, that a lot of companies have kind of retroactively called AI, or that have kind of always existed, but now are AI. Maybe I said the same thing twice. Either way, an example is just like on CapCut or Canva, just like the button that's just like remove background has always existed, but now it's AI remove background. And you know what, the whole time it has been AI. So again, at the risk of doing another full, I mean, I like how I was about to back off of it there as if I haven't been blabbing about it for the last 20 minutes. So yeah, I'm not gonna who knows what I use it for in the future. It will all be ethical, in my opinion, and reported to you. And I think it's interesting that we're at this cultural moment where there's a new technology that we're all figuring out where the line is together, right? Like, as a lot of people on both, I don't even know how political this is, just a lot of people turn their nose up or just have like unabashed comfortability with using it in everything. And I think the where we land as a society is going to be somewhere in the middle. And I think, we're not a monolith as a people. We'll all have different opinions and be willing to have different moral feelings. I think there's no way to come out of our society with our hands clean. And that doesn't mean we should move through the world not worrying about the consequences of our actions, but just keep in mind that like there's no way to get this clean. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, the fucking AI is using this much water, but you're already, what else are you doing? How are you in a room with like 80 LED lights streaming for like 24/7? I'm not saying that's like morally bad. I'm just saying there's ramifications from a carbon footprint standpoint to almost everything we do. Again, I really don't want that to sound like I'm just like shilling for us to use AI, but I think it's important to have nuance, and I think I'm trying to add some nuance to it. We'll get to the questions that AI was going to ask me. I had more questions from this other book I'm reading that I really wanted to get to. But man, I'm not saying I'm getting good at this podcasting shit. I'm better. I'm definitely better than I was at the beginning, no doubt. But I am getting, and this is a skill I wanted to cultivate, better at talking about nothing. Because I really didn't get to the two topics I had that were going to be the time fillers. I had a couple things written down. I was like, this is a silly thing. Maybe we'll talk about my dreams real quick. But man, this was a real hang. And it's how it should have been. It's a Twilight Zone episode from a vibe standpoint. Thank you for rocking with me if you did. This is one of those episodes, if you listen to the whole thing, you gotta subscribe. You gotta follow. You gotta leave a rating, because you just like the vibes here. You like me and my vibe. Thank you. You fuck with the vibes. Thank you. I'm your host, Creme Brulee. Please like, subscribe, all that. I'm doing a show 9/11 in Portland. I haven't made any of the necessary stuff I need to make for it, but I'm coming back to Portland on 9/11 like a 747, baby. So yeah, the theme music should be playing now. You should be praying how. I should be spraying wow, pop, pop, pop. Shots ring out your body. Now they in knots. Call up Lil John.